Welcome to Crushed Husband. Please like the video and subscribe. Let's begin.
The motel coffee was crap, but I drank it anyway. Second day of this dust-choked oil conference in Midland, Texas. Air outside felt like dry diesel and regret. I was scrolling through some project briefs when my phone buzzed. It was from Marissa. "We need space from you. Please don't reach out anymore at all." At first, I thought she sent it to the wrong person. Or maybe she was screwing around. Some passive-aggressive dig I was too tired to decode. I stared at it for a second, trying to make sense of the wording. We, as in her and who? Then another ping. This time it wasn't a text. It was a photo. My kids' duffel bags, zipped and ready, sitting by the front door of our house in Boise. My son's Spider-Man luggage. My daughter's pink roller bag with the unicorn keychain. My hand slipped. The motel coffee cup hit the linoleum floor and shattered into 4 jagged pieces. A splash of burnt liquid crawled toward my boots. What the hell is this? Before I could even process, another notification came in, this one from a burner Instagram. No followers, no profile picture. Just a video. I tapped it. Marissa, unloading boxes from the back of her SUV. Not alone. She was with him. Gavin Ryland. I recognized the side profile, that stupid Patagonia vest he always wore like a uniform. She handed him a lamp. He laughed, touched her lower back like they'd been doing this for months. I didn't even realize I was standing up. I was breathing hard, like someone just punched me in the chest. Gavin Ryland. The same ecologistics clown I was about to dump $500 million into through our venture group. We'd had steak together in Houston, drank rye in Jackson Hole. I was going to bankroll this guy's dream. And now he's unpacking my wife like she's part of his startup kit. I went back to Marissa's message. Replied, "Of course. Tell your lover I'll pull the $500 million check." Then I put my phone down. I wasn't shaking. I wasn't even panicking. I just sat back on that lumpy motel bed, stared at the cracks in the ceiling, and realized something I never wanted to admit. She left. She actually damn left. I opened my laptop like I was opening a file on a dead body. No hesitation. No second-guessing. Gavin's folder was right there, Ryland Agri-Distribution. All polished decks and buzzword fluff. Redefining sustainable freight for tomorrow's growers. Now it read like a bad joke. I pulled up our venture dashboard. We were the lead investor. My firm had point on the round. Gavin's whole launch was built on our name. My name. Without us, the rest of the consortium wouldn't have touched him with a 30-foot pole. I scrolled down to the scheduled wire, $500 million, set to clear in 48 hours. I canceled the transaction right there in my motel room, bare feet still wet with cold coffee. Then I opened the thread with our partners, 7 execs from Seattle, Austin, Chicago. All of them trusted my due diligence. I typed fast. Urgent. Pulling lead commitment on Ryland Agri. Ethical concerns. Will circulate brief shortly. Recommend pausing your exposure immediately. And just like that, the dominoes started falling. Emails hit inboxes. Calls got scheduled. Our in-house counsel drafted the official pullout letter. No details, just clean language and tight legal lines. I didn't want drama. I wanted distance. By 10 o'clock, my phone was lighting up nonstop. "You heard something? He blow the numbers? Why'd you yank it?" I didn't answer yet. I wanted them to sit in it. Feel the heat. Let the questions build. By 11, I was sitting in the motel desk chair, watching our shared funding dashboard like it was a live feed from a burning building. The screen started shifting, green lights turning yellow, then blinking red. Transactions marked, failed. Allocations marked, on hold. Ryland Agri Series B round was falling apart in real time. I cracked open a warm Diet Coke and stared at it like it was champagne. Midnight. Our consortium group chat had fully detonated. "Troy, so, is this about your wife?" "Rico, consultant, he's done. We all pulling." "Amy, finance pulling now. Just updated the wire queue." I finally replied. "He made it personal, so I'm making it surgical." The wind outside slammed against the motel window hard enough to rattle the frame. Dust swept across the parking lot. whistling like static. But inside, it was quiet. No wife, no kids, no deals. Just me, the hum of my laptop, and the sight of Gavin's empire crumbling in pixels. I didn't feel bitter. I didn't feel betrayed. I felt calm. For the first time in months, I wasn't chasing something. I wasn't trying to fix a marriage that already checked out. I wasn't playing support crew while someone else took credit. I was pulling the damn plug. I sat back, watched the wire status flip red for the last of the late-stage co-investors, and muttered, "Good night, Gavin." Power didn't always look like a gavel or a boardroom speech. Sometimes, it looked like an empty motel room, a busted coffee cup, and one guy making quiet decisions that ended someone else's career. I didn't need revenge. I needed control. And now I had it. Back before any of this, I thought I was winning. I was 30, just closed a massive deal automating safety systems for an old copper mine in Utah. My first real payday, high six figures, wired straight into my account. I remember sitting at the kitchen table in our drafty little duplex outside Boise, telling Marissa, "We're good now. You don't have to worry about a thing." She had tears in her eyes. She said, "I want to go back to school. Law school. Environmental law." Like it was this crazy dream she barely dared to say out loud. I didn't even blink. I said, "Do it." Next day, I started the paperwork. Tuition, books, housing stipend, whatever she needed. She didn't ask. I just paid it. I got her a car that summer too. Nothing flashy. Just a clean used Forester so she could get across campus and haul her endless tote bags full of binders and legal pads. She loved that thing. Called it the tree hugger tank. We upgraded to a nicer place closer to downtown. I covered everything: rent, insurance, groceries. I'd pick up takeout on nights she stayed late at the library. Leave it on the stove with a sticky note that said, "You got this." Back then, she used to text me out of nowhere just to say thank you, or, "I don't know how I got so lucky." I felt like I mattered, like I was the engine behind her dream. 2 years in, she graduated and started clerking for a nonprofit that fought mining permits. Bit of a joke, given where our money came from, but I let that go. It made her feel like she was doing something good. Who was I to get in the way? We had our first kid right after she passed the bar. I handled the hospital bills. I paid for the doula, the nursery, the upgraded insurance plan. She wanted to do cloth diapers. I didn't argue. I bought us a home. 4-bed, 2.5 bath in a quiet cul-de-sac. I put her name on nothing. Not out of spite, just because I handled everything. She didn't even ask. She said I was her hero. Then came the little asks. Private school instead of public. Just for kindergarten to get them ahead. I wrote the check. New SUV. Safer for the car seats. I leased it under my name. She wanted a second baby. We had one. Another set of bills, another year of me handling every late-night pharmacy run, every nanny interview, every diaper subscription. She started wanting space. Girls' weekends. Yoga retreats. Time to rebalance. I said yes. Always yes. Eventually, I bought the lake cabin in Idaho. 2 acres. Dock. Wraparound deck. My friends told me I was out of my mind. But she'd been showing me listings for months, saying it was a dream escape for the kids. I made the wire transfer that same week. By the time our oldest turned 5, I'd paid for everything. Summer camps, swim lessons, gourmet groceries, her Pilates instructor, the espresso machine she couldn't function without. At some point, the thank yous stopped. She didn't even pretend anymore. Everything became expected. Automatic. She'd leave receipts on the counter with no note, no heads up, like I was her goddamn accountant. I'd ask how her day went. She'd say, "Fine," then scroll Instagram for an hour. One night, I brought up taking a vacation, just the 2 of us. I said I missed how things used to be. She blinked and said, "Then maybe go back to when I had time to appreciate you." That one hit, but I still kept paying. Because in my head, this was what it looked like to build a life. You hustle, you sacrifice, you provide. That's what my dad did and his dad before him. What I didn't realize, what took me 6 years too long to see, was that somewhere along the way, Marissa stopped building with me. She was just decorating the life I built and preparing to walk out of it. 2 months before Midland, before the text, before the video, I threw a dinner party at the lake cabin. It was Marissa's idea. Said we should host the execs, show them what kind of people we were. The we in that sentence didn't include any of her effort. I prepped the guest list, brought in the catering, picked the wine, even bought a fire pit setup from some overpriced design shop she liked on Instagram. "Make sure you invite Gavin," she'd said, brushing past me like it was a casual thought. I remember looking up from my laptop. "Gavin Ryland? From the agri startup?" She gave me that fake innocent smile. "He's just interesting. Besides, he said he's never been to Idaho." I should have said no. But instead, I told myself it was networking, strategic alignment, maybe even goodwill for the round we were planning to close. He showed up 40 minutes late, wore a faded jacket like he'd just stepped out of an REI commercial, walked in with that dumb confident smile like we'd all been waiting on him to get started. "Apologies," he said, clapping my shoulder like we were buddies. "Got stuck in Jackson talking about biodiesel zoning. You know how it is." No, I didn't, but I let it slide. Over dinner, he dominated the conversation. Talked about decentralized produce hubs and carbon credits and using drones for sustainable inventory control. Half the table nodded along like he was curing cancer. Marissa laughed at everything he said. Every weak joke. Every vague story about hitchhiking through Chile or meditating with coffee farmers. She refilled his wine glass before I noticed mine was empty. She touched his arm when he made some joke about Idaho being the next boulder. Brushed past him going into the kitchen and didn't bother hiding the extra sway in her hips. I kept it together. I played host. I kept the fire pit going and poured drinks and smiled for the guests. But I watched her, how her eyes stayed on Gavin just a little too long, how her voice went up a pitch when he talked, how she leaned in when he wasn't even talking to her. Later that night, after everyone else left, Gavin lingered on the back deck. "Beautiful place you've got," he said, swirling the last of his wine. "Serene. Real upgrade from what I'm used to." "Appreciate it," I said, holding the door open. He glanced inside, then back at Marissa, who was wiping down the kitchen island. "You've got a solid setup, man. The company, the house, the wife, impressive." I didn't respond. He turned, smiled like a man who never heard no in his life. "And the wine, fantastic. Did you pick that out? Or was that Marissa's call?" That's when I felt it. That subtle shift. Like someone knocked the air out of a sealed room. His words weren't compliments. They were claims. He walked off a minute later like he owned the damn deck. Inside, Troy, my COO, was stacking plates in the kitchen. He waited until the door clicked shut behind Gavin, then looked at me. "You're paying for his spotlight," he said under his breath. I wanted to tell him he was wrong, but I couldn't, because I knew. I'd spent a decade building a life I thought we were both living in. But standing there in my own house, watching her laugh like a teenager at a boy who wasn't me, I realized something cold and brutal. I wasn't her husband anymore. I was just the guy who paid for the set pieces. I landed in Boise the next morning, still wearing the same jeans from Midland. I didn't go home, didn't even text her. I went straight to my office, locked the door, and made 4 calls. First was Troy, second was Doreen, then Amy, last Rico. Troy picked up on the first ring. "How bad?" "Bad enough," I said. "We're done playing nice. Pull the rug, but do it clean." Doreen, my lawyer, didn't flinch. "We have updated asset protection templates. I'll get them prepped and time-stamped." Amy was already logged into the joint accounts. "She hasn't touched anything today. You want everything frozen or just her access pulled?" "Just her," I said. "Make it tight. No drama. No holes." Rico was halfway through a golf game, winded as hell. "Bro, you good?" "No, but I'm done being stupid." He paused. "Tell me what you need." I sent them all one text after that. Total reset. Today. Within the hour, Marissa's name was stripped from every system. Her phone line? Cancelled. Streaming platforms? Logged out. Gas card? Shut down. Gym membership? Flagged for non-payment. I even killed the yoga app she loved. Couldn't resist that one. We pulled access from the credit union, wiped her from the backup health insurance, and flagged the Tesla for non-coverage. The car was leased under my holding LLC. Legally, it wasn't hers to begin with. By late afternoon, Doreen looped in with final paperwork. A digital vault of account statements, timestamps, and user logs. "Anything you miss?" she asked. "Only thing I'm regretting is not doing it sooner." She smirked. Let her explain her side to customer service. By 8 that night, my phone lit up. Marissa. First time she'd reached out since the space text. I let it ring. She called again. Then she texted, "My card just got declined at Whole Foods. Did you change something?" 10 minutes later, "Why is the Tesla app saying insurance expired?" Then finally, "Can you just call me? This is petty." I called. She answered on the first buzz. "What the hell is going on?" she snapped. I didn't yell. I didn't curse. I kept my voice low and steady. "You asked for space. I'm giving you space. This is what space looks like when I stop paying for it." She went quiet. I could hear her breathing through the line, the click of her nails against her phone case. "This is how you're handling it?" she asked. "No, this is how you handled it. I'm just following your lead. I have the kids tonight. You left me with no gas, no? They're still my kids too. Their stuff is covered. Yours isn't. You're punishing me." I laughed once. "You think this is punishment? You moved in with Gavin Ryland. You told me not to contact you. You wanted a life without me. Now you have one." She didn't respond. I let the silence stretch. Then I hung up. No threats. No promises. Just a clean, quiet end to the version of us that I'd been stupid enough to keep alive. I sat back in my chair, looked out the window at the office park across the street, and felt that flicker of control settle in again. Not revenge. Not spite. Just severance. And this time she could pay for her own damn space. The morning after I cut her off, Amy walked into my office holding a laptop like it was a loaded weapon. "You're gonna want to see this," she said. She spun the screen toward me. Audit results. Marissa had opened a brand new bank account 3 months ago. Different institution, different state. Oregon-based credit union under her maiden name. Quiet deposits every few weeks. All labeled consulting income. Total balance, $22,000. I blinked. "She's been stashing money?" Amy nodded. "Since February. I tracked the deposits. They line up with a so-called side hustle she mentioned in a few email receipts, eco-litigation blog or something." I leaned back in my chair. So while I was paying for her yoga mats and microgreens, she was socking cash away behind my back? That's not even the worst part. She clicked another tab, Venmo records tied to her Apple ID. Multiple transfers from Gavin Ryland. One tagged office rent, another paint and lights, and my personal favorite, for our fresh start green heart. I didn't even react. My chest didn't tighten. My jaw didn't clench. I just stared at the screen and thought, "You two deserve each other." Amy kept going. "I also found a separate subscription list." She was still using your Amex to pay for kids' food delivery, her boutique gym, 2 spa memberships, and a bi-weekly house cleaner. All set on auto-renew. That ends today. "Cut them," I said. "Everything except what the kids need. If it doesn't benefit them, it dies." Already on it. We moved fast. New accounts for the kids, school tuition paid directly, lunches auto-funded, clothes ordered from my card. I called the dentist, pediatrician, and school principal personally. Explained everything. No drama. Just clear boundaries. Kids are covered. Mom is not. By noon, the weight had shifted. Marissa wasn't just off the payroll. She was officially living in her own budget now. Whatever Gavin wanted to fund, he could fund. But not with my name on it. Then came the email. From Gavin. Subject line. A way forward? Body. "Hey, I understand there's been a breakdown, and I wanted to see if there's a path to revisit the deal under revised terms. Maybe we get on a call?" I didn't respond. Next day, another one. Happy to renegotiate valuation if it means salvaging the relationship. Nothing from me. The guy who thought he could screw me over in private and pitch me in public was starting to sweat. Meanwhile, Marissa called again. This time, she sounded less angry, more wobbly, like she wasn't sure what part of her act to lean into. Look, she said. I know you're mad. I'm not. I cut in. Okay, fine. But what about the kids? You're stripping everything. They need stability. They have it. Their tuition's paid. Groceries are covered. Healthcare's locked in. Everything's direct now. So that's it? You're just gonna leave me in the dark? I didn't sigh. I didn't argue. I just spoke the truth. Legal's handling everything. You'll get formal notice by the end of the week. She was quiet for a second. Then she tried again. Softer. We were a family. Yeah, I said. We were. I hung up. 10 minutes later, Doreen sent the official notice. A clean PDF breakdown of what was terminated, what was redirected, and what support continued for the kids. Every line item accounted for. I stared at the document for a while. It didn't feel like payback. Felt like math. You take, you hide, you lie, you pay. I wasn't playing emotional chicken. I wasn't waiting for an apology that would never come. I was done carrying a woman who'd already packed up and moved on with the guy she used to call too green to be taken seriously. I closed the laptop, walked out onto the back deck, breathed deep. No more funded facials. No more sponsored self-care. No more soft landings. She wanted independence? Good. She just got it, invoice included. The next morning, Marissa texted me one line. You're not stable enough to see them. That was it. No context. No conversation. Just that. I stared at the screen like it was some kind of sick joke. After everything, after she bailed, after she moved in with Gavin, after she left our kids in the middle of a war she started, I wasn't stable enough? I didn't reply. I sent the message to Doreen. She called me 5 minutes later. You want the flamethrower version or the surgical version? Clean, I said. But make it sting. She drafted the response that same day. 3 paragraphs, perfectly calm, absolutely lethal. Cited timelines, custody rights, financial documentation, and the fact that she had walked out without notice. By all legal metrics, Doreen said, you're the stable one, and the responsible one. She just gave us an opening. You want to push for primary? Not yet. I just want my damn weekend. Friday came fast. I drove to their school in the truck. Didn't even let Marissa try to pull anything at the house. Met them both out front. My daughter with her unicorn backpack. My son dragging his Spider-Man roller bag behind him. She saw me, hesitated, then ran full speed across the lawn. Wrapped her arms around my waist like she thought I might disappear if she blinked. My son held back at first. Then he saw her teddy bear peeking out from under my arm, the one she'd left at the cabin, and came running too. We didn't talk much in the truck. Just music and soft sniffles from the back seat. I took them to Big Jim's barbecue that night. They still remembered the place. My daughter ordered the mac and cheese with the smoked chicken on top. My son asked for extra pickles, like always. I got the brisket plate, half-eaten by the time they started talking for real. How come we don't all live in the same house anymore? My son asked. I took a breath. Because sometimes grown-ups make choices that split things up. Doesn't mean we stop being a family. But it feels like we did, my daughter said, hugging that bear so tight I thought its stitching might tear. We're still a family, I told them. Always. Just different now. They didn't push after that. We went back to the cabin. Watched an old Disney movie. Made microwave popcorn. I tucked them in with extra blankets and let the dogs sleep on the floor between their beds. Next morning I made pancakes. Burned a few. Got it right on the 3rd batch. We built a volcano for my son's science project. Decorated my daughter's binder with those stupid sparkle stickers she loved. I didn't say anything about their mom. I didn't badmouth. I didn't dig. I just showed up. Sunday afternoon, I drove them back. Marissa came out to the porch like she'd been rehearsing some speech. She stepped forward. You need to communicate better. You can't just. I didn't stop walking. Didn't say a word. My daughter turned and waved. I smiled back, then got in the truck. Marissa raised her voice. I'm trying to talk to you. I pulled out of the driveway without looking back. If she wanted to perform, she could do it alone. I wasn't giving her an audience anymore. The morning after I dropped the kids off, I walked into the office and Rico was already pacing in front of my desk with a coffee in one hand and his phone in the other. No way this dude's clean, he said without looking up. I've been pulling vendor records since 6 a.m. Amy walked in right behind him, laptop open, hair still damp. You were right. He's dirty. And not just with your wife. I sat down, cracked my knuckles and leaned in. Tell me. Amy flipped her screen toward me. He's been consulting quietly under an NDA with a direct competitor based out of Flagstaff. Same sector, same IP lanes, same client pitch. Rico dropped into the seat across from me. It gets better. He claimed 5 clients in his Series B pitch deck. 2 don't exist. The other 3 were in talks, which we confirmed meant he cold emailed someone once and never heard back. Amy clicked over to a spreadsheet. And those revenue projections? Complete fiction. We mapped his invoice history against bank activity. He projected $4 million. He's barely cleared $200,000 year to date. Vendor conflict too, Rico added. He's running the same logistics middleware with 2 companies who've sued each other before. He's either stupid or suicidal. I didn't even blink. Build the file. Quietly. Send it to Doreen. By noon, we had a clean, airtight report. Fake clients. Ghosted projections. Contract breach. Vendor overlap. Undisclosed conflict of interest. We filed it with regulatory and industry partners. No press. No noise. Just cold facts. By the end of the day, I was watching Gavin's world unravel in slow, delicious motion. First, the investor group chat I was still quietly looped into lit up. Anyone verify this Ryland thing? He said projections were signed off by his CFO. We just talked to her. She says she quit last month. Pulling our bridge. Done. Wire revoked. Then came the calls. One of his VCs hit me directly. Is this coming from your end? I kept my voice flat. We did diligence. You're free to do your own. By the next morning, the bridge loan was dead. Payroll delayed. Their COO resigned. That afternoon, Amy sent me a screenshot. It was from a private Slack channel. Someone had leaked a screen share from Gavin's emergency board meeting. He was sweating through his shirt, collar half undone, trying to explain a spreadsheet no one believed. I zoomed in on his face. That was the look of a man who realized the ladder he climbed was made of paper. Right then, my phone buzzed. Marissa. Text. Can we talk? No punctuation. No emojis. Just that. I stared at it for 5 seconds. Then forwarded her Doreen's contact card with one line. For all communication moving forward. 30 minutes later, her message was marked read. No reply. That night, Rico came over with bourbon and steak. We grilled out on the cabin deck. Just the 2 of us. You think he's done? He asked, chewing. He's got 6 months of lawsuits ahead of him. Best case scenario, consulting for pennies in Denver. Worst case, blackballed for good. Rico nodded. Not bad for a week's work. I didn't say anything. Didn't need to. 2 days later, Gavin's company released a quiet PR statement. Ryland Agri announces strategic leadership transition effective immediately. That's Silicon Valley code for fired and told to shut the hell up. I didn't post anything. I didn't gloat. But I did print that statement, fold it twice, and stick it in my desk drawer, just to look at when I needed a reminder. Some people don't fall. They get pushed off a ledge they climbed with stolen gear. 2 weeks later, I sat in a family courtroom that smelled like Lysol and stale coffee. Marissa walked in like she was heading to a job interview. Pressed blazer, hair tied back, fake calm in her eyes. She gave me a quick glance, like she wanted to see if I'd flinch. I didn't. Doreen was 2 seats to my right, legal pad in front of her, calm as a sniper. She leaned over and whispered, "Let her posture. Won't matter in 5 minutes." Judge came in. Everyone stood. Papers shuffled, names read. Then it started. Marissa's lawyer opened with some soft monologue about emotional distance and stability concerns. Tried to paint me like some robotic exec who prioritized deals over diaper duty. Called her a nurturing and emotionally consistent caregiver. I didn't interrupt. I didn't even blink. Then Doreen stood up and laid it all out. No emotion. No frills. Just receipts. She showed calendar entries. Marissa skipping parent-teacher nights to go to yoga retreats. She showed phone logs, late-night calls to Gavin that started months before the move. Emails, bank records, screenshots of burner accounts, flagged Venmo transfers, everything. Even a time-stamped credit card charge at a boutique wine shop the same night she claimed to be at a friend's with the kids. Every lie, every ducked responsibility, every damn spa day I funded while she was ghosting our family. Right there in black and white. I barely said 10 words the whole day. Didn't need to. The evidence spoke louder than I ever could. When it was over, the judge flipped through the papers, looked back at Marissa, then turned to me. Mr. Camden, you will have custody every weekend and 2 weekdays per week, alternating holidays. Any modifications must be submitted formally through legal counsel. Marissa opened her mouth, but her lawyer touched her arm. She shut it again. I didn't smile. I just nodded. Later that week, things started unraveling for her fast. Gavin's condo in downtown Boise, eviction notice taped to the door. Amy sent me a photo. Security escorting them out while Marissa carried a half-empty laundry basket like they'd just been robbed. The SUV I leased for her? Gone. Towed back to the dealership. She called twice to ask if she could buy it out at cost. I ignored both. And just like that, she was living out of a guest room at her sister's place on the west end of town, driving a used sedan with a cracked bumper, and posting vague quotes about healing on Instagram like she hadn't lit the fuse herself. Meanwhile, my phone started ringing again. Founders I hadn't heard from in months were checking back in. New opportunities. New pitch decks. VCs asking if I was open to sitting down again. Apparently, my reputation hadn't taken a scratch. If anything, people respected the silence. The clean execution. No drama. Just surgical moves and a clear line between business and bullshit. That Friday, Rico pulled up to the cabin with ribs and a six-pack. Kids were already in the backyard, shoes off, screaming about water balloons. You want coleslaw or potato salad? He asked. Both. We ate on the porch. No music, no noise. Just the sound of my daughter laughing and my son shouting about trebuchets or whatever science thing he was obsessed with that week. I looked out at the lake, ribs in one hand, beer in the other, and realized something I hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. Not because I won, but because I finally stopped bleeding. A month later, I was sitting on the dock at the cabin, legs hanging over the edge, my daughter next to me with a little pink fishing pole in her hands. Sun was dropping slow behind the pines, water flat and gold like someone poured honey across it. She hadn't said much all afternoon, just quietly reeled and cast, reeled and cast. Then out of nowhere, she asked, "Is Mom still mad?" I didn't flinch, didn't try to sidestep it. Grown-ups make dumb choices sometimes, I said. That's all it is. She nodded like she got it, like maybe she'd already figured it out weeks ago. The fish tugged her line. Tiny splash. She reeled it halfway in, then let it go with a giggle when it flopped loose. Oops. I smiled. You almost had him. That was the new rhythm. Just small moments. Saturdays were for pancakes and science kits and whatever craft project she and her brother found on YouTube. I paid for their school, their books, their lunches. Everything they needed came through me now. Direct. No middleman. No drama. Marissa never fought it. Not after court. She was still living at her sister's, driving a junky Camry with a mismatched door. From what I heard, she'd picked up a part-time admin job at some nonprofit. Ironic, considering how many I funded over the years just to pad her resume. I didn't hear from her much. A few legal emails here and there. One weird Mother's Day text I didn't answer. No calls. As for Gavin, his startup was gone. LinkedIn said, exploring new opportunities, which was tech world code for unemployed and flailing. The guy who once strutted through my backyard like he owned the damn lake was now jobless, dumped, and probably couch surfing somewhere in Boulder pretending to meditate his way back into funding. I didn't hate either of them. Not anymore. Hate takes energy, and I wasn't wasting another second of mine. I was done being a bank account with a heartbeat. Done pretending loyalty didn't come with terms. She asked for space, so I gave her the kind that echo. The kind you don't fill with yoga or wine or eco-startup grifters. The kind that stays quiet long after the door closes. My daughter leaned her head on my shoulder, fishing rod resting across her knees. "Can we make pancakes again tomorrow?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. "We always can."